Hello everyone, this is my second intervention. I will be answering to the second question. Is the economic growth of China an example of multilateralism success or economic integration? Yes, no, and why? Well, first let's give some context to the situation. Since China began to open up and reform its economy in 1978, gross domestic product growth has averaged almost 10% a year, and more than 850 million people have been lifted out of poverty. Today, China is an upper middle income country and the world's second largest economy. However, China's high growth based on resource-intensive manufacturing, exports, and low-paid labor has largely reached its limits and has led to economic, social, and environmental imbalances. China's rapid economic growth exceeded the pace of institutional development, and there are important institutional and reforms gaps that China needs to address to ensure a high quality and a sustainable growth path. The role of the state needs to evolve and focus on providing a stable market expectations and a clear and fair business environment, as well as strengthening the regulatory system and the rule of law to further support the market system. Now, I want to quote a speech by the President of China on 2017. There was a time when China also had doubts about economic globalization and was not sure whether it should join the World Trade Organization. But we came to the conclusion that integration into the global economy is an historical trend. To grow its economy, China must have the courage to swim in the vast ocean of the global market. If one is always afraid of bracing the storm and exploring the new world, he will sooner or later, get drowned in the ocean. Therefore, China took a brave step to embrace the global market. We have had our fair share on choking in the water and encountered whirlpools and choppy waves. But we have learned how to swim in this process. It has proved to be a right strategic choice. It is to a large extent thanks to multilateralism, including the huge opportunities in international markets, especially since the People's Republics of China accession to the World Trade Organization in 2020, that China has been able to launch spectacular economic development. This is based on an export-led growth model thanks to extremely low labor costs and a huge accumulation of capital subsidized by the state. However, its growth gains have been unevenly distributed among mountain and coastal regions, rural and urban areas, and different social segments according to their connections with the center of power. After analyzing the information and thinking about the question, I can say that China is a great example of multilateralism success, but not over economic integration. China has introduced a new way of multilateral cooperation to the world, aiming to deepen economic integration by improving trade, infrastructure, investment, and people-to-people connectivity, not just across borders, but also on a transcontinental scale. However, it is important to highlight that the international community is concerned about the authoritarian excesses and human rights violations by the Chinese government. This subject, which is regularly raised during the meetings of Chinese diplomats with the European Commission, seems to fall on deaf ears. The Chinese side rejects any criticism, claiming at all times its unalienable right to manage internal affairs without outside interference. So, while China might be an example of multilateralism success, it has to improve many aspects for it to be considered an actual role model to countries to follow.